Welcome to UC News, ucnewscanada.ca. The Canadian Crisis Response. I'm Dr. Dave. In Quinte West, the mayor and certain members of council claim that citizens have no right at all to determine anything important to their lives and future. But when people have no say, we have slavery. These ideas of totalitarian takeover came directly from the old part of our Constitution, the British North America Act, created centuries ago in another country, designed to express the unilateral force and power used to seize complete control of land and people, with only the peace, order, and good government directive as a guide. This meaning, give up peacefully or die, we're taking over. In England, this takeover came from the Enclosures Acts, in which everything related to the common good was seized on by bankers seeking complete control of people, money, and the land. This being their response after the slave trade and then slavery was abolished. In England and the United States, the slave owners had built businesses and mansions on the backs and misery of others. With slavery abolished, but desiring to maintain ownership, controlling every essential human need, they created a structure of government, claiming the people, the land, and the resources as their own. By co-investing in complete ownership, no individual could be charged with creating the social conditions of enslavement of others, and many more could be harnessed to that effect. Claiming entire other countries as theirs, with these global abuses being the cause of 2 world wars. Economically, as slave owners, they had business expenses of housing slaves, providing food and clothes, tools, and transportation, with limited health care to protect their investments. After slavery was abolished, these costs could now be borne by the former slaves, kept in their place by keeping prices high and wages low, with all systems of social care controlled and crushed. This entire structure of so-called law was simply imported into Canada centuries ago, the British North America Act remaining in place essentially unchanged to this day. Laws from another time and place, still active and still performing their purpose of ripping our lives and country apart, having been designed explicitly for that, control and plunder, written directly into the Planning Act, the full intent being to isolate every individual and render them silent and powerless, with no say about anything that affects their lives and future. A working authoritarian state fully devoted to enacting the Article 4 war crime of statistical indentured servitude. Nothing at all changed in 2 centuries of control and ownership, driving social, economic, and ecologic degradation. Yet we now know that these are not laws at all, but are simply the behavioral diagnostics of persons with debilitating mental health issues of sociopathy and psychopathy, whose behaviors are fully predictable and constrained within the confines of their DSM-5 descriptions. We know exactly what they will say and how they will act. With only half the brain capacity of an average healthy person, they cannot make decisions based on fact, evidence, and reason, and are easily identified by their work against the law and against all principles of justice, keeping us fully on course for planetary ruin and an extinction event, this being accomplished directly by hateful land use plans such as used in Quinte West and North Korea to destroy our lives and the basis of life, all easily mitigated by caring community actions. Yet these mental health disorders are characterized by disrespect for others and hatred for any and all caring social structures. This being fully evident in the British North America Act, now currently driving our housing, work, and food security crisis, with all reasonable and caring solutions being adamantly denied by a handful of people abusing the lives and rights of others. Across Canada, this old British system has completely and utterly devastated the social and economic structure of small towns and communities across the country, and put everyone in cities in a state of falsely created permanent lifetime debt for essential human needs, including housing, with no capacity at all to grow food and without enough trees left to build furniture. Here in Quinte West, the removal of essential rights and freedoms with full rejection of equality under the law and all principles of law has been an economic, social, and ecologic disaster, with a handful of people claiming the right to completely control the lives of 80,000 Quinte residents. By a complete rejection of law and democracy, in which citizens have no say whatsoever about anything impacting their lives and future. The removal of rights and freedoms being the active working mechanisms of slavery by statistical indentured servitude. In Canada, such actions against people can be fully disregarded as having no force or effect, there being no basis in law, with Quinte residents fully aware that in the removal of essential rights and freedoms critical to a life, a strong and compelling reason by the Mayor and Council must be provided by these actions taken against our lives. We are free to disregard the criminal behaviors of this seditious Mayor and Council, destructive to our lives and future, and decide for ourselves how we wish to live in care for people, the land, and ecosystems that sustain our lives as the sole basis of our economy. This being equality under the law.